for everyone online as well. If you have any questions for us, have a little think, pop them in the comments, and we'll make sure to get some answers to you. So without further ado, just some brief housekeeping before we begin. No fire alarms are scheduled. If the fire alarm does go off, please make your way to the fire exits. You can follow everyone in a pink t-shirt or jumper. They are current student ambassadors, and staff as well will have lanyards on. So make yourself known if you need any assistance in that. Fire exits are clearly marked as well. Throughout the day, if you do need anything, you need any help, any directions, anything at all, again, pink t-shirts, pink jumpers, they're a very friendly bunch. They are here to help you. So please do just ask questions, make yourself known to them, and they'll be more than happy to help you as well. So I'm going to pass over now and introduce our head of school, Professor Fabrice Renaud, who's going to tell us a little bit more about our campus and our school. Here's Fabrice.
Thank you. So, good morning, everyone. Very nice to see you here, and also some of you who were here at the open day that I remember. And hello to everyone who is online also for this Offer Holdens Day. It's very nice to have you around. Wish the sun was sticking out a bit more, but there we go. And we just have a few slides to give you a broad overview of the university and of the school specifically. So, I am the head of school, but I'm also Professor of Environmental Risk and Community Resilience in the school. So if some of you are taking postgrad programs, you may have me as a lecturer if you join our school. Very quickly about the university. The university is the fourth oldest university in the English-speaking world, so a very, very long tradition. And it's ranked in the top 100 universities according to Times Higher Education and the QS rankings, which is very important. But another aspect that we're particularly proud of is the fact that we're top in the world, and that's against 1,400, 1,500 universities in sustainability. So obviously we're the School of Social and Environmental Sustainability, so we are very, very happy about that, and we contribute to these rankings through the research, through the education programs, through the outreach activities that we have. We contribute greatly to the university's success in that field. We are the 2024 Scottish University of the Year according to the Times, and we are also a member of the Russell Group of universities. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but this is a grouping of comprehensive, research-intensive universities in the UK, and we are a member of that group. We have about 40,000 students in the university as a whole. Very, very international, over 140 countries. On this campus, it's no exception, although obviously we're much smaller, but we have about 40 different nationalities in the staff and student bodies that are represented in the school. I may be anticipating one of the next slides, but there we go. And we have very famous people who have graduated from the university or who have worked at the university historically. Now, on the Dumfries Campus, as I emphasized, obviously, given the name of our school, we are very sustainability focused, and that's not only in the environmental side, because generally when we speak about sustainability, we think almost immediately at environmental sustainability, but we do cover also the social and economic aspects of sustainability and the interconnections of these dimensions. And for those of you who might be familiar with this, this is how the International Sustainable Development Goals are devised, and you may see on some of our program pages and in a lot of the research that we do, where our research, where our education programs contribute to sustainability and the Sustainable Development Goals more specifically. So as I said, yes, we are very international on this campus. You can probably tell from my accent that I'm not from here. I'm a French national and have been here now for 8 years, and we have colleagues from all around that are working on the campus. We say that we are using our environment throughout everything we're doing, in terms of our research again, in terms of our academic programs, and we call this a living laboratory. You just need to look through one of the windows and you might understand why we do that. And it's for all the programs that you may be applying for. So basically, if you're an environmental science student, you just step out in 5 minutes, you're going to be in the middle of a field taking soil samples, for example. But you can go much further afield in our ESS, Environmental Science and Sustainability program. In the last year of your studies, you will go to the island of Harris and spend 10 days there collecting data. And this is for, obviously, educational purposes, because you'll be collecting data, analyzing the data. But it's also a data source that is kept by the trust of the island, because every year, of course, they have cohorts of students that go there, and then they have a long time series of environmental information that they can use for the management of the island. So it's really a win-win situation in that case. And a lot of the things that we do go in that direction. If you're going to join one of our education programs, you'll be integrated in schools locally in the wider Dumfries and Galloway region. So it could be here in Dumfries, but it could be further afield, quite far away in smaller schools. But basically, you'll be embedded in the region. And it's like that for all of our programs. Because we're a small school, we have a tendency to have smaller class sizes. I think that the biggest class that you may have would be about 60 students in one of our levels, 1 or 2, where you have students from other programs that take these courses in option. So that means that you'll be in an environment where you'll be able to really concentrate, work, have the attention of your lecturers, have much more meaningful discussions with your peers and with the lecturers themselves. And that also leads to the last bullet point there. We really consider ourselves a close-knit community. So whether you're a staff or a student, we talk to each other, we help each other, we support each other on a daily basis. And this is recognized actually throughout the university when colleagues come down and say, oh, it's really a nice environment. You're very cheerful, which is often the case. The last slide that I'll present before passing back to Amy, the city of, or the town of Dumfries, I should say, sorry, but it's about 40,000 people. Is that for the town or is it for the entire region? It's for the town, 100 and something thousands. As a student, you will have access to student accommodations that is from the University of Glasgow, that is in various locations on the campus and beyond. And we have also a student postgraduate hub, and this is in Maxwell House. The student hub is just across there, where you can mingle and brew your own cups of teas and coffees and discuss. We have access to gym facilities in the college in particular, which is just 50 meters or 100 meters away from here. It's all free for the students, so you can use the gym facilities there as and when you want. And in the same building, we also have the joint library with the University of the West of Scotland and the college and our university, where there is very nice study spaces that you can use in addition to the ones that we have in our own buildings here and across in Maxwell House. We have a student union that has been restarted a couple of years ago now, which is very active, which has a lot of activities on offer. I'm sure this is going to be discussed further with a student representative. And also, although we're in the south of Scotland, we're in a small town, we are actually very well connected to the rest of the UK, and I would almost say to the world, although to the world you do have to travel a bit more, you have to go back to Glasgow or Edinburgh or Manchester. But as I said, we're very international in nature, and a lot of the researchers in this school, including myself, we have research projects internationally. So it's not an impediment for us to be based here and to travel. I work principally in Southeast Asia. It's absolutely no problem. So the fear that you may have, we're not Edinburgh or Glasgow or Manchester, where is the airport? It doesn't hurt at all. And the connectivity to go to London, to go to the Central Belt is really quite good from here. So no isolation at all. And I'll stop here for now and pass over to Amy. But if you have any questions, if you want to talk with me at any point in time, I'm here for the whole duration of the event, and I'll be very glad to engage with you. Have a nice day. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much, Fabrice. Thank you very much. So we have just a few minutes now. We've learned over the years that it's great to hear from us and the staff, but really you want the real life experience of students on campus. You want to know what goes on here. So we thought we'd do a little bit of a student Q&A. So it's your chance to ask any questions as well. I'm going to put them on the spot a little bit. I'm going to get this up as well in case you have any questions from online who want to send them in. But can I ask you guys to come and join me up at the front? And Ethan, if you have 2 minutes, do you want to come and join us too? So we have all three of our undergraduate programmes represented here today. So I'm going to pass the mic along and ask you guys just to do a quick introduction, if that's okay.
Hello, my name's Janie. I'm a first year primary education student here, and I live in the accommodation because I'm from way up north, so I need to get down somewhere. So yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know.
Hi, I'm Yayan. I'm just finishing my first year on the Global Sustainable Development Programme.
I'm Ethan, and I'm finishing my first year of environmental science and sustainability.
And now we can pass the microphone. Thanks, guys. So if you have any questions, just give me a little wave and we can ask away. Otherwise, I'm going to start and kick things off a little bit and ask just basically why you chose your programmes, why you are here today.
So I chose to come to Dumfries especially because mainly of like the smaller size of things. I'd been previously to a bigger university doing a completely different course, but I was sitting in classes of about 300, sitting in a massive lecture theatre, and you don't get that. You just feel you're just a number. I was just sitting watching the lecture or skip through a PowerPoint that I could have watched at home. And then because you're in front of 300 people, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm not really going to put my hand up and ask any questions because they say no questions stupid, but trust me, there are some, and they'll probably come out of my mouth. So it was just not enough, and you didn't have that connection with your lecturers, and quite often you'd send an email asking a question, you'd get, oh, I'm on holiday, you'd ask somebody else, oh, I'm not here, or you'd ask someone else, and so it was a bit of a struggle to try and get help with things. Whereas here, I'm in a class of, I think, maybe about 30 people, and I've gotten to know my lecturers personally. If I email them, they get back within maybe 48 hours, not even that, sometimes they'll reply straight away, so it's brilliant. And obviously, because it's that smaller size, you're not just sitting watching someone read off a PowerPoint. You're doing work at the same time as it. You're able to ask questions in the middle of it, and because you get to know everybody, if your question's stupid, everyone just laughs and it's fine. So that was one of the main reasons I came here. And I've also found, because it's that little bit smaller, I live in the student accommodation that's here, and I found that it's, because obviously again it's smaller, we've become like such a good friend group. There's about maybe 15 of us, and we do stuff together almost every weekend, every night we're out doing stuff. Like last night we were doing the ice bucket challenge, just out on the grass, as you do. And because it's been nice weather, we'll all just lie outside in the sun together. We go out on the weekends together, we go off to the student union events together, and we became like a really good, close-knit friend group as well, so it's been brilliant. I'll now pass it to Alan and I'll shut up for a minute.
I think Janie's pretty well covered a lot of the good points there. A different thing I can speak to specifically about my course was, because obviously that's more some of the common aspects, but the values of the school, the sustainability aspect. A lot of sustainability programs at different universities are based more in their politics department or like on the development side of things. Whereas here there's a real emphasis on that sustainability side, and that was one of the things I sort of was attracted to.
I mean, I think all of the bases have been covered, but the main reason I chose the Dumfries campus specifically is because I guess for me it had the right vibe with the environment surrounding it and the people here. Like on any other campus, like Jenny said, it would be far too busy for like someone like me who enjoys the outdoors a lot more than he enjoys people. So the surroundings here make it sort of the perfect environment, not only for leisure, but also entertainment and education. Sorry.
Thank you so much, guys. So we have a question from online, which is awesome. It's actually a big, scary question, especially for first year, so I'm going to say sorry now, but what careers, this may be an easy one for you actually, Jane. What careers are you thinking about, or kind of the general job market you're thinking about in a long time yet to come?
Well, hint, hint, I'm doing primary education, so teaching. But obviously with that as well, I could go into coming back to university and being a lecturer here, or helping out in this side of things with teaching people to be a teacher. or you could go, obviously teaching, but you could do like the substitute side of it where you're going around different schools, and of course you can go all across the world doing teaching. You can go anywhere. My friend's sister works in South Korea teaching English. I've done 2 weeks in Bali teaching English. Like, it takes you everywhere. And again, with this course, you get the chance to study abroad in your 3rd year. And trust me, you can go anywhere. There's universities in Canada, America, all over Europe. There's in Southeast Asia, there's in Australia. Like, you can go anywhere. And it's not one of these things where you have to apply for it and then you might get in, you might not. There's a 99.999% chance that you will get to go to where you want to go. So I recommend taking that up.
The pathway for me is a little less clear. Part of my attraction to the program is that, you know, I get to study a broad range of things all on the same program, and there are a lot of pathways it could lead me to. I'm interested in doing something that is helping change society, the world, to be more sustainable, whatever that looks like. Whether that's more in, you know, the political systems or NGOs. There's a lot of ways that I could go. I'm not sure yet.
I mean, like with Yai, and I'm in pretty much the same boat. My initial interest for this course stemmed from wanting to be part of like the British Antarctic Survey or any sort of Antarctic survey. It's moved into sort of environmental protection agencies such as CEPUP in Scotland or DEFRA in England. But even more recently, with the varied amount of like optionals and optional modules, it's moved further into politics and anthropology. So that's been a personal interest now, like writing and traveling. So.
Thank you so much, guys. For those who don't know, our kind of motto, our slogan here at the University of Glasgow is World Changers Welcome. And just listening to you guys at first year, and this is where your ambitions are, I think we're in safe hands. I think we're going to be absolutely fine. So thank you guys so much for sharing. Anyone in the room, give me a little wave if you have anything you want to ask. We also have another one from online, so thank you very much for sending these in. Now, easy one, I think, for some of you. Do you go on field trips? Do you want to go?
No.
Placements. You do have placements.
I go on placement. We go on placement in 1st year for 6 weeks, 2nd year for 7 weeks. I think it just goes up each week. I'm not too sure about 3rd and 4th year, but so yeah, that's the ones I do, but not the field trips like these guys go on, unless you count going to the pub on a Saturday.
There are a lot of field trips, especially on the environmental science programs, some of which are also core for my course, or which I can take in as elective. I went on a trip to a power station, a hydroelectric power dam station on one of my courses.
The environmental science course is the most sort of field trips, even in the 1st year. So the first field trip we went on was literally just to the a research farm where we tested soil quality visually and with our hands. So no scientific equipment. One of my favourites was when we went to one of the regenerated peat bogs. I fell in like nearly waist deep, and so did most of my friends. At least I had waterproof trousers on, so I made it through without getting soaked to the bone. And the last one, yeah, it was the hydroelectric dam. So a lot of varied field trips, varied subject matters, all that stuff.
And if you're on a postgrad program, I have flatmates who are on postgrad programs, and they're like going on field trips like every week.
I forgot to say, if you're doing primary education in the undergraduate, you have to choose electives within your years. And because we're the School of Sustainability, you have the choices of like a sciencey thing. So in my 1st semester, I done Introduction to Global Environmental Sustainability as one of my electives. We didn't go on any field trips personally, but if you chose to do, was it water, you went to hydro?
Yeah,
dam.
and the Earth System Science.
And Earth System Science, you can choose to have them as your electives, which means you will go on a field trip. I just happen to have not been on any.
Thank you guys so much. I think we've got time for just one final question. And my question actually is, so we've got a room of wonderful offer holders, applicants, their families, their friends. As current students, you've made it, you're here. What advice would you give to, well, everyone here?
It's quite difficult. I think maybe try not to get too stressed out about it. It's the time of your life where you meet people, you have fun, as well as obviously do the studying side of things. But, you know, like, try not to stress too much about things. You know, you're only going to be here for 4 years or 3 years or 1 year, depending on what you're doing. So just make the most of it. Try and make friends. You know, not everybody likes people, so which is fair enough. But no, just try and enjoy it, because it's a small part of it. So yeah, just try and make the most of it.
I think in terms of if you're trying to make that final decision about where you're going and what you're, whether this is the right fit for you, for me, I just sort of tried to map out the specifics of what my life would look like, and you know, there's so many opportunities going to university, things you can get on with, and that's maybe even more the case at a bigger campus university or whatever. But if you think about really what it is that you want to commit your time to, because you don't actually have time to do everything, sadly, then you know that can help you think, you know, whether this is the right fit for me, and this was the right fit for me. So
I'm trying to think of something that would be like inspirational quote worthy, but there's nothing that would warrant going on Facebook. But me personally, just don't take it too seriously. Like, don't stress yourself out about things. There's plenty of time to like learn, do the course, do your assignments, go out, meet people. There's way more time than you think. Just don't take it too seriously.
Thank you guys so much. You've been fantastic, and we're a round of applause for our very brave students. Thank you so much. I'll let you sit down. Thank you guys so much for staying with us today, and thank you everyone online for joining us for our Q&A. For those online, you've got a few more bits of content to see now, so I'm going to let you get away and get and see those.
Hi, I'm Vivien, and I'm a first year on the Global Sustainable Development Program. I've found it difficult thinking what's something I'd be willing to study for 4 years, just that one thing, because in high school I was able to study a lot of different subjects and I really enjoyed that. But as I thought through the question what I might consider important enough that I'd be willing to focus in on, sustainable development touched on so much, but ultimately that theme of sustainability, it's connected to so many other things. This is something so vital. Coming here to study this course, there's some expectation that doing so will open up possibilities for me in the future in terms of being able to be part of the solutions that I believe can transform our world. I got a very good impression and I'm looking forward to my time here. I'm excited to study this and become more of an expert on this sphere. I don't know yet exactly what career I would want to pursue, but I think this is where I find out.
I'm Priya. I'm in my third year of the Environmental Science and Sustainability course here at the Dumfries Campus of the University of Glasgow. I've always been interested in environmental science since my last 2 years of school. That was the time when all the different environmental issues were really coming up on from the younger generation, and they were addressing it as well. The ozone depletion and just the plastic age that we're living in. It really made me aware that we must recycle and use what we have. I think if you're gonna study environmental science, seeing nature firsthand is very beneficial. We do a lot of work outside of class, in fields, on the water. We collect soil samples and we analyze them. We collected macroinvertebrates, so it's been good. There's different fields of environmental science that you can work in. You can either be hands-on working in the fields, or you can be one of the policymakers, which are just as important. So I think this course has allowed me to explore my interests quite a lot. But personally, I think I'll be doing something related to ecology and conservation. Because of it being a small campus, I think I've made friends quite quickly, and I got to know my lecturers quite well. There's good interaction in class, so it was quite easy settling in. Being an international student myself, having other international students, it's been a little comforting because you can relate more with whatever things that they're going through. Part of the reason why I chose Scotland is because I like antiquities and the history of Scotland. It's the monuments, the Viking castles, and we have so many nature reserves over here. Dumfries is such a beautiful place.
My name is Meg and I am studying primary education at the University of Glasgow Dumfries Campus. I kind of wanted to be the teacher that I needed when I was younger. I look back at the teachers I had and I wanted to be able to be that for other kids. I'm really proud of how much I've done, and I'm really happy with all the support that we've been given and all the placements I've had. My first year placement was a really small school. It had 2 classes and 2 teachers. My other 2 placements were in larger schools in like the centre of town. And that was a completely different experience, but super important to see both those sides because you don't know what school you're going to end up in. On my first placement, what we did first is I went in and I sat and I watched the teacher. It's super important to watch what they're doing, watch how they manage behaviour, watch how they write on the board even. That's something I didn't even consider. The first time I was writing on a board, I was like, that. So I observed, and that's what you do for like the first week. You observe, you take notes. You talk to the students, you learn their names, they get comfortable with you. You watch how they work with little groups, and those like one-to-one moments are super important, and it's completely different to how you teach the whole class. It makes a big difference to have this like stimulated environment where you can really put yourself in the shoes of the student and see what they see. And when you look up there and see the teacher at the front, are you hearing them? Are you seeing them? Are they stood in front of the board so you can't read? It's these little things. I love being in the classroom. I'm a very like hands-on learner, and I love seeing the difference that you make right there and then in the moment. Like you can sit in a classroom and learn in a lecture as much as you want, but you don't know how important that stuff is until you get into the classroom and you take it into your practice. And you see what works and you see what doesn't, and you just see how it makes a difference.
Okie dokie. We're going to use this because people are joining us online again. So hopefully it's not too loud for you guys. But welcome to our Parents Information Session. Very informal. Please ask lots of questions as we go through. You're with, well, three of us here today. We'll introduce yourself, but we'll go through and tell you a little bit more about our student finance. We'll talk about accommodation and we'll talk about student support as well. So please just let us know throughout any questions. That same goes for everyone online who's joining us. Welcome. Please send in questions to the comments and we will get those answers to you. But for now, I'm going to pass straight over and we'll talk about student finance.
Thank you so much. I'm going to stand here so I'm not in the way. And the fun topic first, I suppose, but a very important topic when you're coming to university. And I suppose it's part of the parent session because it's usually the parents who think about the finance first and foremost. But obviously this information is relevant to both parents and offer holders and even future students as well. We'll talk about sort of cost of living. I want to caveat that by saying that a lot of the figures that we have are sort of Glasgow-based figures, but living here in Dumfries, which is actually where I'm from, so I can attest to it as a young person once upon a time. It's not anywhere near as expensive as sort of city living. But to give you an idea of terms of what to think about for cost of living and the things you sort of need to factor in, and maybe hopefully some useful resources. Talk about the government funding, which is usually, at least in Scotland, the sort of biggest area of funding for students coming to university. And also, we'll talk a little bit about scholarships. We also have a scholarship stand outside in the foyer, so if anyone does have really specific scholarship funding questions, we'll be able to get those answered for you individually as well. So let's make a wee start. So my name is Kirsty, and actually, introducing all the staff, who can introduce themselves. So Ellen from Accommodation, we have a wonderful Amy here as well. Amy works at our Dumfries campus, as does Ellen, and I sort of work across the Glasgow and Dumfries campus as needed. So my job includes a lot of travel and going into schools and fairs and talking about lots of areas of coming to university, including student finance. Does everybody, it would be helpful here, is everyone like a Scottish student? So would you be going to SAS? Is anyone like an English student, in other words, funding from Student Finance England? Okay, so I have put the information up that I'm assuming most of you would be Scottish. In other words, getting your funding from SAS. Your offer would need to stipulate that, so a home or Scottish student on there, and then your eligibility would be assessed via SAS. With that said, I also do this presentation in the rest of UK, so if anyone isn't sure, or if we do have anyone that just doesn't want singled out, who's coming from England, Wales, Northern Ireland, or even internationally, let me know after, and I do have some slides that are sort of hidden that we can go through. So let's start with the cost of living. So this slide is hopefully obvious to parents, but often for the students this can be quite new, and particularly if some of this has been subsidised to now, or it's just not things they've had to think about before. So this sort of gives an idea of the things you need to think about when you're living away from home, or if you're becoming financially independent as a student, mostly independent as a student. So things like your rent and your bills, your food shopping or eating out, probably both. Transport costs, socialising, your mobile phone, clothes, your general well-being, and actually some people just like a little bit of extra money for going out or just living their lives, of course. And what is important to each person and how they live is different for everyone. So what they value or where they want to put the majority of their money. Now, there's no coming away from the fact we know the majority of money goes on to rent and accommodation. Ellen can talk about that. But yeah, that's going to be the biggest cost factor. And that's usually, a lot of where the student loan stuff comes in. Not all of it, but a good chunk of it. But it's just not to forget that you do have these other things to consider. And it does take a bit of time for students because it's a change usually, and they've got budgeting to learn. Sometimes they need to learn that in relation to the student loan payment, so it can take a bit of time. This graphic that you can see here is obviously the UK. It can be hard to read the figures, but I suppose if I tell you that the green figures are the cheapest, the yellow ones are the next cheapest, and then you have the sort of amber and then red, which will surprise no one that the red highest figure is London. So London is the most expensive place in the UK to live as a student or just generally. So you can see that the entirety of Scotland and most of the north of England is actually some of the cheapest places to be a student. Now this isn't Glasgow data, I actually took this from savethestudent.org, and while we're not affiliated with the website at all, I went through a lot of their stuff when I was putting the finance presentation together, and they do have some wonderful statistics. A lot of their statistics come from what's called the National Student Money Survey. So you might have heard of the National Student Survey, which is about student opinion, but the money survey is obviously specific to money. And they do that as a UK survey. So I think the last one was around about 1,800 students who took part of that. And what they've done is converted it into things like this, but also you can do drop down in a table for different areas of the UK, and you can see, well, okay, if you were going to live in Lancaster, this is what the current students are telling us that they spend, so on and so forth. And so you can sort of compare and contrast. I suppose a little bit of trepidation, just because if that's what the current students spend, doesn't mean that's what all the students spend and where they put their money, but it gives you a good idea. Glasgow as a city is literally apparently the most affordable city outside of London in the UK. That might be contentious depending on where you're from or how you spend your money. But like I said at the start, Dumfries will be even cheaper because you don't have that sort of city living going on. It will be no surprise to anyone in the room, including myself, that cost of living continues to go up. But when we put these figures together and when we put the Glasgow figures together, we are trying to do this frequently and also include that cost of living rise that we're all sort of feeling. So these are Glasgow figures. I don't have an equivalent for Dumfries, so I apologise for that. The Glasgow ones themselves are pretty hard to do. Around about £1,100 to £1,700 to live in the city, so it's going to be significantly less. Amy, I don't know, do you have a figure like for that you sort of? Sorry, she's just walked in the room and I'm just going to put her in.
Oh no, about 1,000.
Yeah, okay, so slightly less than that, so about £1,000 for Dumfries. So that's sort of what we guesstimate. Like I said, depending on what you value, where you put your money, this could be different for each student. So it is about how they live and what their lifestyle is like, which is why it's such a large range there. But I think the main message of this is that we do publish information, and Amy and the Dumfries staff do a wonderful job of on the Dumfries pages of putting this together, and go and chat to them as well about what it's like living here. But we also have blogs, vlogs, much more information that comes from students to students. So really encouraging going and utilising that and speaking to the staff here at Dumfries as well. The other thing that we do really well in Scotland is student discounts. So any town, city, even village where they have students, businesses are smart to make sure that they have student discounts, student nights, student deals to get the business. So actually, no matter where you are, you're going to get some great student discounts. And I think I can say I sorely miss my student discount. I make it sound like it was yesterday. It wasn't, but I still miss it. And the other wonderful thing we do in Scotland as a whole is actually free bus travel for students, or actually anyone under the age of 22. So while the bus is not always the most glamorous option for people getting around, it's actually completely free. So even if that's getting home, or getting around Glasgow or Dumfries, or getting to other cities and towns as well to visit, it's wonderful to be able to do that at no extra cost to them. There are some websites that I would maybe sort of refer to, but less so like websites specifically, and just sort of reminding the areas you can get student discounts in. So things like transport, supermarkets. I mean, I have a club card, but and I love my club card, but I don't know many students who think to get a club card or anything like that. So, because they're used to using their parents, right? They're used to going and having this stuff. So it's all these little things that over time they start to build up to help discounts, to get onto like schemes where you get points and eventually vouchers, getting real cards if you need them, part-time work, their Young Scot cards. Some of this will be in place, some of it might not. But it's just remembering that all these things are out there and trying to encourage the young people to utilise the discounts where they can, because they're usually fairly significant as well. So okay, the less fun bit, let's talk about the tuition fees. So we talk about tuition being free in Scotland, and that is sort of true, but there is actually a tuition fee, and it's $18.20 per year for a Scottish student going to study. That is absorbed by the Scottish Government if you apply for it. So it doesn't automatically just happen. You need to make a student finance application through SAS. When you make that application, you'll be asked, do you want to just get your tuition fees paid, or would you also like a student loan? And then the application is adjusted accordingly, but it is one platform, one application for both. You have to do it each year. You will get multiple reminders, so you don't need to worry about that, and you would obviously have support here from the institution as well. But that's just to make sure you're still here. Have any at home or circumstances individually changed massively? Do we need to have another look at it? So it is a yearly application. For now, it's focusing on that first application. And we're going to talk about it in a second, about how you do that. But I think it's worth saying right up front, applications are now open, and we are encouraging people to do that as soon as they can, purely because SAS tell us that they would like applications in by June for guaranteed start of term funding. Now, you can actually apply for funding at any point in the academic year, and it will backdate it. But of course, you would rather have the funding in for the start of term and have it in your bank account as well. The tuition fees are paid directly to the institution, so students don't need to worry about the tuition fees. But in terms of living cost support, if they choose to take a loan, or if they, whether that's maximum amount or less, These are currently the figures from the SAS website, and this is all on, or should be all on the SAS website, and we've gone through and sort of tried to put it in a concise sort of table format. I will caveat this by saying that there are additional support areas available for different circumstances, for independent students, students who may need additional support. I haven't included all the specifics of that because often it can be very individualised, but please do speak to SAS because all of this is SAS eligibility. This isn't university eligibility. So down the left, this is for students who would be considered dependents. So in other words, they've been living at home up until the point they're going to university. And these are the different fee brackets that Scotland use. If anyone is from England, Wales, Northern Ireland, they all do different things. These figures are different for all of them. They actually all have different household income brackets as well. So they don't make it easy in terms of figuring it out, but this is how it works in Scotland. Generally speaking, anything that's got a loan in the name is something that they're expecting paid back, and anything that is a bursary or a grant is money they get to keep. Always worth checking, but that's generally the terminology that they use. So this first figure, this would be the loan amount, the max loan amount, depending on the household income. The bursary is typically what students get, which they don't have to pay back, and then of course that's the final figure in that third column there. This does include the £2,400 uplift that came in last year. So if anyone was following the news or saw that, that figure is included. It was a loan uplift rather than a bursary uplift. Is that okay? Does that make sense? I should have said for those in the room, if anyone does want a photo of that, you're very welcome to take a photo. I know it can be hard to get this all in a concise space, or at the end, for time's sake, we can pop it back up for you. Importantly, repayment, I think, right, I can totally understand we're talking about some fairly big figures over the course of potentially 4 to 5 years. There's a lot of trepidation around student loans and the numbers, and therefore you want to know, well, when do I have to pay that back? How do I pay that back? And how does that work? So again, this all comes from the SAS website and the Student Loans Company. But you can see that we're quite lucky here in Scotland because actually the earning threshold is the highest in the UK at the moment. It sits at 31,395. So if you were earning, or the students were earning even £1 less than that, come the time this gets assessed, they're paying nothing back annually. So you would have to be making more than that amount of money annually to pay anything back to your student loan. You don't actually start paying your loan back until the April after you graduate, so you almost get a full year, and that'll because it works in the cycle of the tax year. So they'll automatically look at your tax come the April where they should have access to your annual salary. Someone did ask, what do you do if you're self-employed? And it's a bit like your tax return. You would be eligible to sort of let them know what you're making in any given year and pay it back. So you would work that out, but the figures would remain the same. So this is just a graphic to sort of break it down a little bit. So if a student was earning £1,000 over the threshold come the April after they graduate, then they would pay back annually 9% of what they make over the threshold. So in this example, it would be 9% of the £1,000. So we're talking £90 a year, which is about £7.50 a month. So it really isn't designed to break the bank. It's not probably what we should say, but I just sort of cover that part of my payslip and I try not to look at the tax because it makes me sad. But the student loan is the much nicer part of the deductions, the tax not so much. That makes it sound like I have a very good salary. It's just, this is a very manageable amount, and it's not designed to cripple students or break the bank or make them feel super sad when they look at their payslips. It should be a very manageable amount. Usually if I say this in front of students, they cringe, but it is honestly the best loan you'll ever get in your life. It's not supposed to be something that you feel super anxious about. This, mostly we've talked about this, I think the part that's worth highlighting is the repayment years. So again, we're very lucky here in Scotland because actually we pay the student loan back currently over 30 years. In other parts of the UK it's 40. So we're quite lucky that we do that over 30 years. So in theory, again you check this with SAS, but if you hadn't paid it back after 30 years in full, they just let it go. So again, it shouldn't be crippling you your entire life. You shouldn't be getting to retirement age and still having to pay back student loan. All of this happens automatically, so again, it's not something students really need to worry about unless they are self-employed. And if the circumstances change, so they stop working, which would probably be assessed monthly alongside their payslip or weekly, whatever they're doing, it just stops. They just stop taking the payments. So they shouldn't be having to pay anything if they're not making the salary threshold. It's probably worth saying at this point that when you come into university, so if you're starting 2025, the funding that's in place now follows the students through. So it's called a plan, your student funding plan. And that's the plan you come in on and it follows you through. So if we get to 2027, I'm making it up, I don't know if this is what's going to happen, they change the student finance, whether it goes up, whether it goes down, whether they change the repayment amount or the repayment years, it will not affect the current students because you've come in on that plan. So it follows you through. So it offers a bit of security as well. Someone asked me about interest rates. To be super honest, don't fully know. But when I looked this up, this is what they were across the board, but they can change. So these are a bit more fluid and a bit more changeable. So applying for support, SAS website is super easy. I think from experience it can be easier for students to do this with whoever's at home, parents, carers, whoever they're living with, just because it does have that sort of P60 element, the household income. Some parents are happy to share that, some would rather do their part separately. I don't think there's any right or wrong with it, but there is a list of things they need to complete the application, so you'll be able to see that before you start, and you can either do it together or the students can do their bit and then parents can log in and do theirs. You do not need to have decided your final choice to apply. I realise today most of you are going to be offer holders and you're thinking about your UCAS choices, but don't delay your finance application because you're not sure yet. It's very easy to change and very common to change actually, even all the way up and past results day, because obviously things can change then too. So it's better just to get it in and change that later. You can just log in and out. It's fairly easy to update that. This is a sort of 2025 application process. You'll be very glad to hear we're not going to go through all of it, but this is just sort of to highlight. I'm going to let Ellen talk about all the university accommodation application information, but for the student finance on SAS, it is open, as is student finance England. They're just very recently open, I should say. They're a bit late this year, but they are suggesting June for that final guaranteed start of term deadline. In terms of receiving that support in Scotland, we're really lucky because they're a bit more relaxed with it. So they offer over 11 instalments, that's the sort of default, and they put 2 in September, so they front load it, and that's obviously maybe for things like accommodation deposits, books, starting university, have a slightly bigger outgoing at that point. You can decide to take it over term time only, which is 9 months, and you can also decide to take it over 12 months now, that's really new, where you can split the money up across all the year if you're going to stay over the summer or something like that. So this ties in fairly well, I would say, with the accommodation payment plans, which Ellen can talk about, but there is a bit of budgeting to be done. I think the Scottish students have that a tiny bit easier, in my opinion, just because they have more instalments. In England, they only do it in 3 instalments, so they get a bigger chunk of money, and then they have to figure out how that money works each month. So that can be a little harder. What they don't have to worry about at all is tuition fees. That's all sorted behind the scenes. Scholarships, I'm not going to talk about it massively because we have an expert in the foyer for you, but it is just to say I do solidly recommend searching them. I think it's really underrated that people think, oh, there's no money for me, it doesn't apply to me, I don't have any special talents. Listen, there's money here across the board for lots of different things. There's some weird and wonderful scholarships in there. Some come centrally, some money is bequested to us and it has eligibility criteria attached. So it's absolutely worth having a look through, and hopefully this is quite easy to do by just putting these drop down boxes in you can see on the screen here, and it should bring up anything that is potentially eligible for students. What I would say is they generally do have an additional application. It's very easy, it's nothing like UCAS, but they usually have a deadline date as well, so it's worth having a look at that pretty quickly. Amy can maybe talk a little bit more about part-time work in Dumfries, but what I can say is, when I was a young person, I did have a part-time job all the time, and that was generally down here because this was where I was from. So I had multiple part-time jobs over in Lockerbie at several hotels, working hospitality. I actually worked at Easterbrook Qual just outside here for a period of time, and I had lots of friends who had loads of part-time jobs that were really flexible. So I guess when we're in Glasgow and we say, oh, it's a huge city and there's loads of part-time jobs, here we feel a bit more town-based, maybe a bit more rural. There's still loads of great part-time job work opportunities, and the university and the staff here at Dumfries do a wonderful time of supporting students with that. and in getting work. And Amy can talk a little bit more about the ambassador scheme they have here as well with the students you see around, and that's a fantastic way to earn a bit more money and have adjustable and flexible hours as well. There's other supports out there you can, in terms of Glasgow websites. You might find some of this is very Glasgow specific, but what I will say is, even if it's talking about it as a Glasgow scheme, say like the discretionary fund, for example, these are still suitable and eligible for Dumfries students. We're one institution. So while you might have additional things you can get here in Dumfries, slightly different cost of living, different support, and actually almost more kind of like smaller group one-to-one support, which is fantastic, you can still dip into these schemes that we have overarchingly in the university. That money is also for University of Glasgow students, and I would also really rate the Student Representative Council website. Again, it might be some of it is city specific, but there's so much good advice and information on there for finance, but also lots of different topics, and relating out to different external websites and information as well. So that's a really good one across the board. And I'm going to stop there and pass over. Hopefully I wasn't too over time or anything for you guys.
I'll be there, I'll let you off then.
Thank you.
I wasn't aware we had a time, so there we go. I've just got operator and buttons thing. So I'm Ellen from Accommodation Services, so I'll go on. There we go. So yes, accommodation. Just before I get started, I have a couple of QR codes in my presentation, so if anybody's got their mobile phone with, you can capture. But Amy, did you say this session's being recorded?
It's recorded and it'll be online as well, so don't worry if you miss anything.
So if you miss anything, you can go, and that also goes for the guys that are online too. I will also back up this, having a look at the scholarships page, because there are things there. I can give you some examples. You're descended from the clan Gregor. If your surname is Graham, but only if you spell it Graham, and that did elicit a cheer from a person in the front row one time I did this talk. And also if you're born or have resided in Stirlingshire. So there we go. So definitely not academic related in the slightest. So definitely check it out. Very easy page to navigate. Now, back to what I'm here for. So why choose university accommodation? So there we go. Standard contract in accommodation is 39 weeks. That's September to June. And you don't clear your room out Christmas, Easter time. It's yours for the duration of the contract. And your accommodation fees, when we're talking about that budgeting piece, accommodation fees include your Wi-Fi, some personal contents, insurance, and your utilities. Say that again, your utilities. Yep. Your kitchens in Dumfries, all our residences, they come equipped, so you basically do not need to bring cutlery, crockery. Basically, there's a basic set of stuff to get you started. That's our recommendation, is not to bring too much stuff, because there's going to be stuff there, and obviously Dumfries has shops, so we can top up if you need to, but your kit is good to go. You do need to bring your bedding and towels. And I think, again, to settle in to university accommodation, you'll hear many times today about the benefits in Dumfries of smaller class sizes. It very much is a community. You're not lost in the system by any manner or means. But moving into accommodation from move-in weekend, which starts this year, Friday the 12th of September, you've got somebody you're living with. So somebody to find your way from your residence to campus, from your residence to the supermarket and back. And you've always got somebody there at the end of the day. You're going to meet more people. There's clubs and societies. You might be into sport. They've got access to the gyms and things here. So your circle of acquaintances will expand. But at the end of the day, you've always got somebody in the residence to have a cup of tea with. And a guaranteed offer kind of slipped through the net there, sorry. Also, if you apply by the 14th of July and meet your conditions by 25th of August, you're guaranteed an offer of accommodation as a first-year applicant. So, living well at U of G. You have a site team, and Fiona, the site manager for Dumfries, is with me today. So she's upstairs. She becomes a regular visitor to the residences for things. She comes down and does the flat inspections, and she just checks everything's hunky-dory, but she's also there for practical advice. You have the Residence Life team, who are based up in Glasgow, but they will have welfare support who are available over the telephone, and they're linking in with the student support that Amy will speak more about here, and all the safeguarding teams and all the support trained specialists that we have on campus. And will also be the Residence Life events team, who will be arranging various social activities. And for out of hours, when all us people are tucked in bed. I'm certainly not a young person anymore. It's a longer time ago than me for Kirsty. But anyway, there's an on-call team. If you lose your keys or the fire alarm goes off and the fire panel needs reset, there is a locally based team who are on call to come and sort these things out. So now on to the residences themselves. We have 3 residences in Dumfries. The first one, and you do have the opportunity today, there's a tour going in 5 minutes down to Dumfries Hall, which is the first one we're looking at here, and there's another tour at 2 o'clock if you want to pop down and see Dumfries. So Dumfries Hall is the largest residence that we have. So there are 30 rooms, and that's 6 flats of 5 bedrooms in Dumfries Hall. All our bedrooms in Dumfries are en suite, so private shower room attached. And the Dumfries flat have communal, each flat's got its own kitchen living space. Laundry room with washer and dryer. Uniquely in Dumfries, you do not pay to use the washing machine and the tumble dryers. That's unique in Glasgow. You pay by, and in most student residences, you pay by every load of washing or drying that you put on. So uniquely in Dumfries, we're the only place where parents bring their washing to get it done in Dumfries, instead of the other way around when everybody comes home with a big bag of washing. Dumfries Hall is the closest to campus, a 10-minute walk, or it's 10-minute walk down to up and down to campus, and 20-minute walk to the town centre. And that's flat number 4. That's the communal kitchen. We've never understood the mystery of why flat 4 had 2 toasters. Don't know why. There's only five of them over the top. So everything that you need, so it's small double beds in Dumfries Hall. You get your desk, your wardrobe, plenty of storage space between the shelves, under the bed, on top of the wardrobe, etc. Private shower room, and there's that legendary free laundry room. Next stop, Brook House. So Brook House it's a slightly deceptive photograph, but they are actually single beds. But they're really well designed, these rooms. So they are maybe a slightly smaller bedroom, but with natural light, and you've got all that you need, plenty of storage space in Dumfries Hall. Brook House, sorry. The layout in Brook, it's sort of traditional style, so bedrooms off a corridor over the 2 floors. Again, all en suite. They have a large kitchen on the ground floor that's got sort of two ovens and 2 microwaves. They should have 2 toasters because it's a big kitchen for 13, and there's a small pantry kitchen up the stairs. They have a common room, bike storage in an enclosed garage, another free-to-use laundry room, and they also have a wee back garden. They can dry their washing outside. And they are a little bit further away from campus, but only 5-minute walk to the town centre, very, very convenient for the shopping centre. And that was my cue. Kirsty stole my thunder to tell you about but there's the QR code to go and find out more about the young person's bus travel scheme. But again, wholeheartedly recommend that. Come up and see us in Glasgow, use it for travel all over. We're quite a lot of Scotland based anyway here, but lots of people don't know about it, and it's just a terrific scheme to get out and explore the country when you're here. So Brook House, so again, there's that double-sized kitchen, large kitchen, and the common room, and the lovely back garden. And in September, this is the other unique fun fact about Dumfries. In September, when the students arrive, the back garden of Brook House has a mature pear tree. And there's generally pears, so windfall fruit available in Brook House. And then when we come to the next one, which is Lorino, and there can't be many student residences in the country that look like Lorino. Who wouldn't love to live in a beautiful sandstone villa? But Lorino benefits from a mature apple tree from the house next door, so we can have our annual crumble off between Brook and Lorino every year. So yeah, 7 ensuite bedrooms across the 2 floors in Lorino. That background, that's actually the original tiles in the entrance hallway, from when the house was constructed. Big kitchen there as well, which overlooks the back garden, direct access to the back garden there. They've got a wee sitting room, another free laundry room, and again, a little bit further away, so you might want to take advantage of the bus for this one. But again, if you're out on, I know some of the courses are out on placement, so it's convenient for travel if you're going outside. And so a little bit further away from campus, but again, very, very close to the town centre. There's that garden. Wee sitting room, nice bright kitchen, and an example of a bedroom. What does it cost? I'd call this in Glasgow my paparazzi moment, because I'm standing and I press the button and then all the cameras all come out. But nice and easy to remember in Dumfries, the room rate is the same across the board. So it's all an ensuite room, whichever residence you're in, and it's £172 a week. And multiply that by 39 to get your full year contract price. And the fees, so another instalment, we've got 11s and 7s and 9s, so I'm the 7, okay? So your accommodation contract is 39 weeks, so that's what, 172 times 39. At the point of accepting your offer of study, you'll be asked to make a prepayment of £600. Now, that is not a deposit that's returned to you, it's basically an advance rent payment. Because when you arrive in your residences, your fees, accommodation fees, are then uploaded to the main finance system where all your finances are paid and administered. You need to get a payment plan set up. That's one of the first jobs you do when you arrive. And then you set up an instalment plan to pay the rest of those fees between October and April. So really the 600 that you pay is really it's really September's rent kind of thing. So gets you started. And they're all paid by end of April or end of March, I think it is, if you go for a manual payment plan. So how and when to apply? So our portal is open at the moment. It's an online accommodation portal to apply. The first thing you need to do is firmly accept your offer of study. So I know there's a few today who've already done that, and some that are still making their minds up when they've done the final rounds of offer holders events. So firmly accept your offer of study. That can be a conditional or an unconditional offer. You can apply for accommodation with either, and we encourage you to apply as early as you can in the process. So the deadlines: to be guaranteed an offer, you need to apply by the 14th of July and meet your conditions by the 25th of August. And also, when your offer comes, I'll do this first and then we'll say about the offer. So when you read, that's what the portal looks like. So the first step when you go onto that portal, and after you've accepted your offer, if you're going to do this in the next week after you've visited today and you say, right, Glasgow's for me, and you make that acceptance, it takes about 72 hours for your details to import across to appear here. So if you go to register, and the registration will ask you to put in your UCAS or your applicant number, which is your Glasgow applicant number, and it says student not recognised, don't panic. It just means your details haven't imported across to us yet. So just keep trying. It can take up to 3 days to do that. And when you register, keep a note of the username and password, because you need that to log in to accept the offer of accommodation, and also to manage your stay with us. And the other top tip, which is not there. I thought there was a top tip on that. Anyway, the other top tip about that, please do not use your school email address. Happens every year, there's always one, right? And then they try and log in with the email address that they registered and created their username and password with, and then come August, they don't have access to it anymore. So please, maybe step before all of this, get yourself a Gmail or a Yahoo or whatever. Does Yahoo even still exist? BT Internet, whatever. Get yourself something an email address you've still got access to. Once you start your application, what type of applicant am I? Now, you might think I fit in several of these categories, but the easy one to remember, if it says Dumfries, you're a Dumfries applicant. There we go. So just pick Dumfries Campus. Other things to include: there's an additional information section on the application form where you can free type in. So if you happen to be coming to university and there's a friend you'd like to share a flat with, you both need to put the names down. Slightly awkward if only one does, then the other one doesn't. But if you want to share, pop that down in the additional information. If you need a fridge for the storage of medical equipment, medicines, etc., just let us know. We'll provide that free of charge. And residences in Dumfries are not massive. You'd only have one flight of stairs to go up at the maximum. But if you would prefer a ground floor room, or conversely, you'd rather live upstairs, let us know and we'll do our best. We don't guarantee, some of the requests. We do get some special requests, but we do our best. Yeah? We do our best, and we do read them all. We do read them. Mm-hmm. So what happens next? Check your email. Again, that email you can get access to. Any offer and communication from us comes from that email address, so just maybe make sure that that's going to not end up in a spam folder. Once you've moved it across once, then it shouldn't happen again. Again, offer deadline. So when the offer of accommodation comes, it will also have a deadline for you to accept, and it's likely to be, early offers going out might have a week or 10 days on them. Once we get closer to crunch time in September, and we're just getting those last offers out after exam results, the turnaround time we might need you to accept within 3 days, so that if you don't want that room, we can get it out to the next eligible applicant. So the point about this is, if you are lucky enough, you're either going away travelling for the summer, or you're working and you're away, just keep an eye on that email. If you're going to be away, make sure somebody at home has got access to that email so you don't miss your accommodation offer. The £600, I've already explained that, so that's the £600 prepayment. That is part of the acceptance for accommodation. So if you don't make that £600 prepayment, then your offer can fall away and we can withdraw that. So it's part of the acceptance process. It's slightly, there are links in your offer to help you to take you, because it isn't, you can't pay it inside the application portal for accommodation. It punches you out to another system, but it's there. And if you've any queries, just drop us a line saying, I'm having issues, my card won't work. Please, can you extend the deadline for the payment? Then just drop us a line and we can keep an eye. We won't take the offer away if we know that you're trying to pay it and it's just an administrative thing. So that QR code takes you to our main accommodation services webpage, where we've got the residents' profiles, details on each of the residences, more images and video tours, etc. So more information there, and to contact us if you think of anything after you've left us today. Fiona, Karen and I are up at the stand up the stairs, so just drop us a line, come and speak to us. We don't bite, honest. And yep, I shall hand now over to Amy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Here we go, student support. So I'll talk a little bit about this. This is a kind of thing as well, though, that there tends to be more individual questions that people want to ask me about specific circumstances. So I am available if you want to chat afterwards. I won't go too in-depth in this session, but just to give you a little kind of overview. We have a student support officer who is here on campus throughout the week. His name is Tarek. He is available in a room just over there. He's also available on phone, online support. You can email him as well, or just drop by anytime. I want to say, I really hope you're getting the feeling today of what a community we are here in Dumfries. We're all very approachable, very friendly people. I think you have to be to work here. You know, we really look after our students, and I really hope that's coming across as well, because we get to know them really well. We let them, they get to know us. We know what their passions are. We know what they're striving towards, what they're working towards. We know a little bit about them. So we notice if someone's not been at class for a while. We notice if someone's looking a little bit down or a little bit lost. You know, we do notice these things. So we have official student support, but we kind of, all of the staff here in some capacity are here to support our students. And we very much enjoy what we do as well. So I hope that's coming across. Again, if you have any questions, you can please just ask me. It's not a problem at all. But we do have our official student support officer who is here on campus. First point of contact, usually for non-academic related inquiries. So every one of our students, when they join, will get assigned an academic advisor. Someone on the academic staff, usually related to their programme, but not always, who will sit with them on like their first week, make an appointment one-to-one, talk them through their timetable, the classes they've chosen, help advise them, things like that as well. If you're stuck between two electives, you're not sure, here's the pros and cons of each one for your kind of development or your passions or anything like that as well. So you have the academic support straight off the bat. You also then get the non-academic support via Tarek and the rest of the team as well. So either way, you can ask for help from either of those teams and they'll be able to signpost the most appropriate person. Working hours Monday to Friday, 9 till 4:30, and room 106 of this building here. Always on campus on a Tuesday and a Thursday, but can also be on campus on other days as well, but always on a Tuesday and Thursday for definite, so people can drop in anytime. So basically the team's job, the student support team's job is to know everything, is to know where the best support for our students is. So maybe, our student support officer might not necessarily have all the answers themselves, but they know who to go to get the answers, to refer to external support, to refer to, specific resources, for example, whether that's budget support or it's something to do with the disability services that we offer here, or it's something to do with additional support needs for your exams, for example, or counselling, or anything at all that they might not themselves specialise in, they can signpost to and help. So anything from finance and budgeting support, careers and learning support, disabilities counselling, anything that you can think of, academic or non-academic, come to the team. They're here to help. The thing I always say, if you're not sure, just ask. You can ask Tarek, you can ask myself, you can ask anyone out in the foyer. We always encourage our students to be very vocal. We encourage them to use their voice. We encourage them to express themselves. So we hope, and so far it seems to be working, that students are never afraid to come and ask for help from us. Whether it's the SAO team, our Student and Academic Operations team, who are based in our school office just down the corridor there, who are the people to know on campus because they know absolutely everything. Or if it's your academic supervisors, it's your lecturers, it's professional services like myself who actually have nothing to do with learning or teaching. I work primarily, and I work in student recruitment, I work in publicity, I work in web, I work in, social media. I don't work with students, but I am right here if they ever need anything at all. You'll know my student ambassadors. Hi, Catherine. Snuck in there. My student ambassadors, I manage the student ambassador team. They are paid employees as well, so we're talking about part-time work earlier. You can become a student ambassador. It is paid. It's part-time flexible, so for example, we have a group of ambassadors here today, which is amazing. Some aren't here because they're working on their dissertations and they're working on placements, so they wanted the day off. Great, that's fine, studies come first. But it's an option there if you're looking for that little bit of extra, and I call it pocket money. If you want a little bit of extra income, then we make sure to give plenty of opportunities for things like that as well. So if you have any questions about that as well, I can also answer. A final thing I wanted to shout out about was our summer residential, which is another part of the kind of support and confidence building that we have here at Dumfries. So it's a 3-day residential. There's posters kind of all over the place, and I can chat about it more. 3-day residential, come and live with us. We pay all accommodation and all meals and everything throughout your stay. The only thing you have to focus on is getting to and from Dumfries on the first day and the last day. Otherwise, everything's covered. Come and stay with us for a few days. We give you some taster lectures. We show you around the campus a little bit more, but more from the kind of typical day in the life student point of view. Our ambassadors are there. We have movie night, we have a barbecue. We have some fun as well, and just kind of get to build that confidence a little bit. Something that's a nervous thing. You're coming to university for the first time, and everyone's going to be in the same boat. Everyone's here for the first time. You'll all learn together, and that's not a problem. But we try and offer as many opportunities as we can for people just to get that extra bit of confidence building, get to know the place, get to know the people as well, and also future classmates. So if you see some of our ambassadors, Megan and Sam, and there's loads of people here actually who did the summer residential last year, they'll tell you all about it. They absolutely loved it, and it's one of the reasons that they're here today. I'm quoting that because they've told me that. I'm not putting words in their mouth, they've told me that. Yeah, see?
Two of the budget up to be flatmates, I think.
Yes, so Megan and Holly, who met at the summer residential this time last year, are now going to be living together for second year, which, I feel so proud. So yes, anyway, as I say, my name is Amy. I'm here all day if you need anything you want to know about. Same goes for everyone who's joining us online today. Thank you for joining us. Please just send in questions. We're here to help. But thank you all so much for your time, for your attention, and we're here to help if you need anything. Okay, thank you so much.
Hi, my name's Emma. I'm a student on the PGDE Primary programme at the University of Glasgow Dumfries Campus. My career path's been a little bit random, so I've done a few different things. I was an optical assistant for a little while, but after university I decided I wanted to travel and ended up working as an au pair in New Zealand. While I was over there, we went into lockdown. It was during 2020, so I ended up homeschooling 2 of the children that I was looking after. And just really enjoyed seeing them progress and seeing them learn new things and enjoy learning. And that's kind of when I decided that this is what I really wanted to do. I wanted a programme where I would get to do a good block of placement. And when I came down here for the interview, the thing that really appealed to me was the small size of the intake. The staff are so supportive, and I think because of the smaller size of the class that I'm part of, they really have time to talk to everyone and get to know everyone. Coming into it at first, it can feel a little bit overwhelming, but because everybody was in the same boat, everybody was going through the same thing, and the staff were so supportive and always there to answer any questions that we had. And then when we go out on placement, we have a remit that slowly builds up. So you start off doing less and gradually you start teaching more and build it up throughout the placement. So it's not like you're just dumped in and told to teach the class straight away. And we're here right now in our simulated classroom, which we use during our training to get more of an idea of what it would be like to do things in an actual classroom setting. I think my confidence would be the biggest thing for me that I've developed. I found it quite daunting at first thinking about standing up in front of the class and my mentor at the same time. But I think being on campus and being retaught those things and then having the gradual build up on placement really helped me feel comfortable kind of standing up and confident in the content that I was teaching as well. It's been a really great learning experience, and I feel like we're being given really good building blocks for working on our teaching and becoming hopefully good teachers in the future.
Hi, my name is Vivien and I'm studying primary education here at the Dumfries Campus.
I'm Priya. I'm from India and I'm studying environmental science and sustainability here at the Dumfries Campus of the University of Glasgow.
So this is our building, Rutherford and McCowan.
This is our primary building where most of our lectures, seminars and where our school staff and academic offices are held.
The Dumfries Campus by University of Glasgow was founded in 1999. So if you'd like to come with us inside, we'll show you around. So this is our main foyer to Rutherford McCowan. This is our main university building.
And over here is our cafe.
So through here, if you're looking for a member of staff, you can find them easily on our staff board. As you can see, we've got quite a small staff here at University of Glasgow, which is what makes us really good for international students and coming students, because it's a more intimate and community experience on campus.
Yes.
Show you the cafe now.
So this is our wonderful cafe. It's open from 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. Here is the place where you can get all kinds of fresh food and hot beverages. Really nice cafe for in between classes and stuff. And it caters to all kinds of dietary requirements. And we also have pre-collection service here. So yeah, that's our cafe.
Okay. So back through here where we've just walked through, you'll find one of our main lecture rooms. This is probably one of our biggest ones here at Rutherford McCowan. You'll probably use this quite frequently for elective classes, primary education classes, environmental classes. And this is maybe where you'll see on your open day as well. Okay, and then through here is our Hunterian. So we display different things throughout the year. So Priya, do you want to say what we usually display?
Well, right now we have
Peats. Is Peats and cool?
No, it wasn't. Okay, I'm just going with it. This is animals called Steve.
Okay, sorry.
That's old. Don't worry about what it is, just say.
Alright, okay, this is like. Okay, cool. So this is where we display different exhibitions every year. So we've had different things like.
We had exhibitions on animal skulls and beaks.
Yeah, we display different things, it's awesome. It's really interesting to read about in between classes. Okay. So now we're going to go through here. Yes. So down this corridor you'll find our student support and our school offices. So if you have any questions about different things like career advice, disability, or just any worries about coming to university, you'll find the student support offices down there. You'll also find the school office.
Where you can hand in your assignments or where you receive your grades, and we're just basically academic folk who know everything. So that's just the place to go if you have any sort of questions.
Yeah. Now if you join us out here, we've got something very special on today.
We have a postgraduate barbecue going on at the moment.
So this just shows us as one of the many events that we hold here on campus. And we're having it outside near our teaching garden. So if you'd like to follow us, we'll show you the teaching garden.
If you do get caught in the police away. When was that? When was that?
So this is our beautiful teaching garden.
Over here, all staff and students are welcome to plant anything they want. We can plant whatever plants or crops you want, and you can take them home as well. Well, in my first year, I think we harvested some potatoes here.
Yeah.
So that was quite fun.
We also hold different gardening clubs, we hold different events here. It's just a beautiful space really to come hang out.
Yeah.
The environmental course use this as well to do different experiments and research as well. So like Priya said, it's open to everyone.
It's open to everyone. You can come here anytime you want.
It's awesome. We're heading back inside the way we came. So now we're going to head upstairs and show you some more classrooms. Get a workout in between classes. I wasn't sure. Okay, so this is one of our main corridors where we have a lot of classrooms as well.
Yes.
Like this one here.
We have lots of video conference facilities in here and just very interactive classrooms.
Oh. No, doesn't let me to. So this is where I had my first year literacy class, and I think it was my first class. And it's a lovely room, and you get to chat to everybody, you get to know the lecturer. It's really brilliant. So
I had my first Spanish class in here, so which was quite fun.
brilliant. So now we're going to head along the bridge, and this is where you get to see beautiful campus through the view. And here as well we have some amazing study spaces like here,
Yes.
and it's a really beautiful table. We have charging ports as well, so you can stay here all day if you wanted to.
Yeah, you'll find lots of lots of students here after hours studying, getting work done. So yeah, it's a beautiful place to study, of course, with the view.
Here you'll find our elevators, and this makes our campus fully accessible, and it goes downstairs and also goes up to the third floor, which we'll look at later.
So students with disabilities are very welcome to use the elevator here.
Okay, now through here, this is going to the other part of the campus.
So in here is our IT lab. It's open for all university students to use. It comes with hard drive and printing facilities. So yes, I think environmental students, we have lots of IT stuff to do. Of course, we spend a lot of time in here, especially, I think we spend the most time with our GIS course, which is quite fun. So yeah, that was the IT lab.
Now through here, this is a new addition to campus for our primary education students, and I'm in here quite often. So this is our stimulated classroom. So in here you can get to experience what it'll like being a teacher in a classroom. We're allowed to use the board to practice writing on the board because that can be quite difficult on placement. And we have different classes, lectures and seminars in here as well, so it's used all the time. As you can see, we have different things on display, so it's really awesome. The moment on display we have our Book Buddy posters, which is what you'll do in second year if you come and join us. So brilliant. Okay, now we're going to go upstairs. This is the third floor, at the highest floor.
our teaching laboratory. Hello. So we have lots of research facilities in here. We don't just learn how to do research, we do it ourselves. So we go out into the fields to collect samples, we bring them back, we analyze them and present our findings. So lots of soil digging and soil analysis that has been done in here. So
Primary education also uses this room when you learn how to teach STEM for younger children as well. So it's used by everyone at the campus. It's really brilliant. You'll also find on the third floor a lot of our staff offices and lecturers. So if you're looking for anybody, asking them a question about a paper, you'll find them on this floor because that's where the offices usually are. You might need to go on a hunt for them though because they often disappear.
But they are very quick at responding to your emails and things like that.
Oh, absolutely.
We get to know our professors on quite a personal level, and so we're all very friendly and open with each other, and they're always there for us whenever we need any kind of help.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah. That's a good thing about a small university. Yeah. Everyone knows everyone.
Yeah. And even if you find it a little hard to adjust at first, with your classes and stuff, you get used to it quite quickly. You just know where everything is quite quickly.
After you.
Thank you.
So here are some more study spaces as well as vending machines. So if you're here for a late night session and the cafe's shut, this is your best friend over here.
Yeah. It's a cashless system here at the uni, so tons of fun food at the vending machine.
Over here is our snug, so if you want somewhere more quiet or just to chill, doesn't even need to be studying, reading a book, or just hanging out with friends, this is maybe the space you would do that as well.
Yeah, this is one of the most common places people just like to chill in between classes while they're on campus. So yeah, you'll find people getting together in groups, getting their homework done and stuff over here.
That says had to look at Rutherford and McCowan. So we're just going to head over and show you where Maxwell is.
Mm-hmm.
So the Maxwell building is where a lot of your primary education classes would be. And so you have lectures like mathematics, literacy, professional practice, and you get to know everyone in that classroom. It's a massive hall, and it's an awesome space.
We also had one of our first intro environmental classes in Maxwell.
Yeah, so a lot happens over there. You'll also find our postgraduate hub over there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where all the postgraduates hang out and do their research and things. It's a lovely walk over though.
Yeah.
You can see it in the summer. Brilliant. You'll find on campus that there is over 100 businesses here, so there's always things to explore. You'll also find, if our cafe is shut, we also have the Crichton Cafe, which is just down the hill there. We also have other things like Easterbrook Qual.
We have shacks for furniture shopping for people who are just settling into Dumfries, so that's a great place to get some furniture.
Yes.
They have everything. It's a very nice charity shop. And campus, it's a very nice walk on campus when you just want to get some fresh air. So you'll find many of us doing that just because it's such a beautiful environment, of course.
If you look up here, we also have our University of Glasgow mascot, the wee monkey who sits in the tree. Always finding new things. Sits up there looking after all of us. We don't know how it got there, it just appeared one day and it's brilliant, we've not taken it down.
So if you look right there, you'll find bus stops like in different couple more spots around campus, and the buses go straight into town, so they're quite convenient. And usually it's the number 5 bus for the Rutherford building and the number 6 for the college.
Yes. If you look over here, this is our Maxwell building, so as you can see it's a short walk from Rutherford, so if you're rushing in between classes it's not too bad. Then we're just going to head back this way. We're going to show you the Dumfries and Galloway College, and that is where you'll find a lot of shared resources. We share the resources with the University of West of Scotland, our university, obviously, the college.
We have a library over there and gym facilities.
Yeah, so it's brilliant if you're looking for something. The librarians are awesome as well. If you're looking for a specific book, if you just order it via them, that should come in and you can take a look at that.
Yeah, and you can find a lot of your textbooks that are available at the library as well. So you don't need to buy, don't waste your money on expensive books when you can just borrow them from the library.
Exactly. We also still share resources from the main campus at University of Glasgow. So if there's something at main campus that you can't quite get here, that's something you could also request. And also you can start your printing as well via there.
There's also free parking spaces at the university for students.
Yeah, so if you're driving, then it's a brilliant place to just be able to drive up and park. But as Priya said earlier, there's also a bus from town as well. Oh, at least it's not raining. Nice day. So Priya, how did you find it settling into Dumfries?
Well, on my first day, I did get lost, and I went all the way, instead of going back to my accommodation, I got lost and I went all the way down to our lovely farm, which you can quite smell once you're here, once you get to Dumfries. So if you're smelling something a little odd, that's the farm, nothing else. We have lots of cute and friendly cows. We go to the farm for field trips, one of our field trips as well, to collect soil samples and soil analysis. So yeah, that was a fun day. But yes, settling into Dumfries, it was quite easy because at my accommodation I've made very good friends. So they made it quite easy for me to get to know the place more. And yeah, because it's Dumfries, along with our campus, Dumfries is quite a small town as well. The longer you stay here, the more you get to know people, and you'll get to know that it's quite a close-knit community. And so yeah, it's a lovely place.
I came here from a small rural town myself. So this is still bigger than what I'm used to, and it was awesome coming here. I went to Dumfries Halls like Priya, that's how we met, and we were neighbours actually, weren't we? So instantly you connect with people because of the size of the small classes. You get to know the lecturers are all very aware of me as well, so it's absolutely brilliant, and you just form those tight relationships and help each other out when you need help. It's brilliant. The transport for me getting home from Dumfries is really easy because we've got a train station in town as well as a bus station that takes you straight into Glasgow. So it's really easy as well if you're wanting to get home from there. So this is our Dumfries and Galloway College. This is our Dumfries and Galloway College. So we'll just show you around inside. We've also got different facilities in here, as well as a Costa, saves you going into town. And also we've got a gym in here as well, so if you wanted to work out or get some exercise, there's a gym in here for that as well. So Galloway campus. So the library is just right off the reception.
So we have lots of printing services We have printing services available here at the UWS library, and with a valid student ID card, you can borrow books, and like I've said earlier, and you can get copies of a chapter of a book if you want. So this is the perfect place for all that.
There's also study spaces in here as well.
Yeah,
So
you can book time to do group studies if you want.
as you can see down over the balcony as well, we've got lots of study spaces downstairs as well. So it's a really good place if there's not enough room on campus. And awesome views as well, like our Rutherford McCowan building. Down here is where you're going to find different bistros, coffee, so Costa, my favourite, as well as the sports hall and the gym.
There's also cash machines in here, so very convenient for if you want to get some cash while you're on campus.
And this is all very close to, if you're at the Dumfries Hall uni accommodation, this is only a 15-20 minute walk away.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to get to. So Costa is just down this corridor, and other coffee and the gym is just down here. So there's our sports hall. So you might want to list different clubs sometimes online that you can join. We certainly have netball club as well at one point. So different things going on.
Yeah. You'll find a wide range of equipment in the gym.
Yeah,
it's quite helpful.
So this is our gym in here.
Yeah. We definitely come here quite often. I can promise you that.
So in here we have different equipment obviously that you can use. So we've got treadmills, cycling equipment and different weight equipment as well. So it's really good to make use of if you're here.
Yeah.
It's free as well, but as you're a student as well, part of the University of Glasgow. So yes, definitely make use of this.
One of the many benefits.
Now we're just going to head back to Rutherford McCowan for the end of our tour. Something you may be wondering is the different things that we can offer in the actual town of Dumfries.
Yes. So we have lots of clubs. We have a theatre.
Yes, we do. We have a theatre. They do a drama club. They're doing Sunshine on Leith this year, which looks really good. We also have different cafes. I'm still trying cafes. There's so many.
King's is a good one.
King's is my favourite. Yeah. King's is an amazing student cafe, and they do student discounts as well.
We also have student discount up at the Crichton Central, so the yummiest food.
Dumfries and Galloway is well known for different outdoor activities and outdoor sports.
Like biking, hiking, mountain biking, hiking, coasts and...
Yeah, there's some beautiful places. I know us two, we went to Maybe Forest, which was beautiful as well. It's one of the reasons why I chose Dumfries and Galloway, just the outdoor aspect. You do, like, as part of the primary education course, you do learn about environmental science and sustainability, which is something really good to teach the younger generation as well.
It's the perfect campus for our environmental science and sustainability course, because you'll find that there's a lot of practical and field work involved in our course, so it's quite easy to get to. Lots of it was done in the 2 years I've been here. Lots of it was done like in and around the campus, and for some we just had to go a little outside of Dumfries. So yeah, and also one of the great things about Dumfries is that there's very low cost of living.
Yes. So I myself have bought a flat, which I'm currently renovating, which I wouldn't be able to do anywhere else. So I'm very lucky, and it's gotten me on the property ladder as well. It's absolutely crazy. So no, I definitely recommend, like, when you're in Dumfries, taking advantage of kind of looking for places to rent long term, because it's just really affordable, and everyone's lovely. And obviously the history here in Dumfries as well is amazing, with obviously Robert Burns, Robert the Bruce, just everything. A lot of Roberts. Okay, and now we're back at Rutherford McCowan already. This short walk. Thank you so much for joining us on this campus tour.
We hope you enjoyed the tour, and should you have any questions, you can ask any of our staff members, and you have their emails on the website. We're quite quickly responsive. So
yeah, bye.
Thank you so much.